Good day, Amy. As soon as I went to start this, my throat hit, which is interesting. I have a vagus nerve, vagus. I don't know, nerve sound thing going in the background. So let me even see what that is. I just saw it and I was like, because I like to have some like mood music or like spiritual lube, which is what I call the frequencies because it allows me to tap into a radio station and it's just like bam, bam. So what is the vagus nerve? Because nothing I do from the moment I start doing this session is not connected to the session in some way, shape, or form. So like what is the vagus nerve? Is it something in the throat? All right, the vagus nerves burn. The vagus nerve helps regulate essential involuntary functions like heart rate, breathing, and digestion. Essential part of the brain. You know what I find so interesting about this? I pulled up your chart for the synastry, and when I was doing it, I started like reading it ahead of time. And I was like, let me just go ahead and hit play, even though I'm not ready. I know I need to click it on this. So let me show you what I saw, and I think maybe that's why that lined up with the vagus nerve thing. So I guess my mind is just trying to translate it into like an easy formula for me to understand. So the vagus nerves keeps you from crashing out, keeps your body from crashing out. Can I say that? I'm trying to change the color on this. I'm sorry, I can't take looking like a Oompa Loompa. I was trying, but it just So Aries rules the brain, your first house, right? And I happen to already have some asteroids up here. Like I said, no coincidences when we're doing this, right? So I didn't look at your chart individually, but I noticed first and foremost that Pinocchio was in your first, and your Venus and Vesta, which is your feminine energy, like the thickest part, activate his Pinocchio, right? But he has Pinocchio in first too. What does that mean, right? You guys both started in autopilot. That's the best way I can say it. Uh, let's take a journey. I'm like, oh, do we have time for this? We have time. You were the first reading of the day. It is fresh. I am fresh. So, a kilopath, right? It says a representation of evil or impure spiritual forces, but it actually means husk, like Pinocchio, literally like Pinocchio. And the first time I saw the Pinocchio thing, I was like, is this a way to tell the people who started off in karmic jail? And yes, that's what it is. I'm pulling this up because I did it before, right? Because I was like, hold on, Pinocchio means something, right? It literally means pine nut, pine wood eye. Pinocchio, pine, pine cone, pine seed, a piece of the tree, a piece of the kilovolt tree. So, to explain this, when you are someone who did not graduate Earth realm, right? So you didn't make it to heaven in life. You also weren't so bad that you had to stay in hell for several lifetimes, several human lifetimes just down there until you were able to come back up again. Because Earth is like the middle piece, Middle Earth, right? Where you get to decide if you're going back below for some reconstruction or you're moving up to heaven. Earth is the place where all your shadow and your light body come together and y'all integrate to become the best version of yourself. Now, when you did something that was not so bad that you had to stay down there, but you still sort of need to be tapped on the wrist for some reason, you come up here in pine mode, which means you have to live out your karma dormant. You have to be asleep as you go through everything that you went through before, and then you still have to make better decisions. And then you are rewarded with the gift of consciousness, just like Pinocchio. That story is so loaded with details and stuff. And it looks like in this life, you came to heal yourself from being that kilopath energy, from coming from not being able to get out of your cycles, is what I'm hearing. It's not anything that you particularly did bad, and that's why your South Node is in seventh. But it looks like there's a relationship you kept like making the same mistake and over again. So you kept coming back like, I just want another chance. I think we can do it. Is it this guy? Maybe. That's what we're about to get into. So first, I was drawn to pull for what the theme for this relationship is. And I'm not even going to use a love deck for this. I'm going to use my energy deck. So what is the theme? What is the theme for Amy's relationship with this guy? Capricorn rules both of your suns. So it's based on your Saturn as contract. Y'all have both been dealing with restrictions. What? Ooh, was he a jealous one? I have to put the jealousy asteroid in now because I'm seeing that the ripple. Remember, I said you kept coming back for something, trying to fix it? Recognizing that sometimes your guy is negging you. So, negging, something I learned during COVID, right? Negging is when somebody backhand compliments you all the time. Like, dang, you look beautiful today. If only you was like 10 pounds smaller, that would have been it. Like that sort of energy. They boost you up so they can break you down so you feel like there's some way that you can get back that, or you can perfect yourself to try to make it better. But no, it's just a trick for somebody who does not feel like they are good enough for you in the first place. So they try to knock down your worth so that they feel better about the fact that they're not willing to do or are incapable of doing what is necessary in order to be with someone of your stature, baby. That's what I got for the theme of this relationship. This was your lifetime for you to recognize your worth, for you to become aware of the envy and the jealousy, but it has to do with the fact that he doesn't feel good enough for you. How many lifetimes are you gonna do this, girl? So you coming towards your own value, you realizing, oh, what he was telling me in every lifetime wasn't even true. I already know my worth. And he had the opportunity to not be an asshole this time and to do right by you is what it looks like for you guys to both bring stuff into balance and not have to go through this loop again. Both of you wanted to correct it this time. So the theme for this is recognizing and repairing. So I just made a post yesterday, I believe, where I explained that when you have planets in somebody's second house, that represents a trauma bond or like a soul bond. It's where somebody sees you as a possession of some sort. That typically has to do with a little bit of that envy energy. Your rising, your ascendant, who you are as a person, your physical body, and your sun, your likeness, who you are as a person, are in his his second house. So you don't own me would probably be a theme song that you have for this relationship. You recognize his worth. That is sort of one of the main things that is binding this relationship together in some ways. I just want to lean into this. I'm about to get rid of this panel over here so I can like lean in, because I'm going to start with your ascendant and just go around so you can get a good idea here before we look at the composite chart. The big version. So in some ways, he brought you to life from the karmic restrictions that were on you. That's why his sun is on your Pinocchio. But your sun is on his Christ spark and his ability to care for other people, something that had been muted before. He even cares in a cold, detached way. Like he's a humanitarian, he's for the people, but in an alien way, like how he expresses himself, even with that Mercury in Aquarius, it's sort of, but that's where your healing energy lands. Like maybe at some point you understood his detachment, his coldness, because there was a sense of that within you as well. You heal his mind and his sense of worth, which is why he feels like he needs to keep and possess you, right? So your Mercury is in his second house too. You have this whole area, that is all in his second house, where a lot of his stuff is. Like his karmic energy is in here. His sexuality, this is very dom, as if you don't know that, right? Does he do stuff online too? Does he consider himself a bit of a freak or an outcast? All these different things that he has going on in his sense of values. There's a block on it, there's a restriction. If he doesn't have money, he feels like he's not worth anything. like being him is very hard. I'm getting being him is pretty hard. So you come along with your energy and you show him somebody that could appreciate him, and it triggers all his stuff. Your North Node, where you were headed in this life, right, was his third house, helping his mind, helping his mental facilities, how he thinks, how he expresses himself seems very important. Maybe that wasn't a strong point in other lives. It might be something he's still having a hard time with, but it was also conjunct your moon, which is the family that you had before, which is conjunct his moon, which means the family you have with him. Phallus is the turning point or the major event that changes stuff in your chart. Becoming a part of his family or finding your way into his home or reconnecting at an emotional level was what you came to do in regards to this person in his life. So his Venus, his value, the thing that rules that second house is right next to your arrow. So your sexual energy, in a way, has been feeding his mental energy, and his it seems like maybe his mind gets backed up with all the stuff he has to do on a day-to-day basis, and you and your energy act as a flush, like you give him reprieve from all his own darkness, because he got some psychological stuff going on, baby girl, and this is from another life. Your unique genius, and that's probably what helps you spot him in the first place, because it's conjunct his union. Like you help him do whatever he does in his job better, even if it's just because you give him a place to lay down his burdens or express his ideas, or you make him feel understood. Either way, you understood there was something special about this. Now, his North Node, where he was headed in his life, he wanted a family with his soulmate, right? That's who he wanted to be with. Your IC is your soul. He wanted his soul back home. It's in your second house, your possessions. This is absolutely boo. But your Chiron, which is your wound, the thing that hurt you, the thing that threw you off, is a self-esteem wound, right? What we were saying in the beginning of this is going to be the thing that you are healing through this relationship. Like, you know what? Even if I thought I was shit or I deserve shit, the way you have treated me is so bad, I know I deserve better. Like, that's sort of what this gives, because your Chiron being in his fourth house is your wounded healer energy, your ability to heal somebody or your hurting somebody else. But in this case, with it being in his fourth house, it has to do with like his anger, his random outbursts, the times when he wants to be alone, his need for time alone, even could be the case. Just something that ends up wounding your value as well. Over here, we have his Jupiter. That's his husband marker in your second house. Once again, soul bond and Jupiter, it represents the husband in the chart. You are nurturing his inner child with your series in his fifth house. But the problem is the block. Your Saturn, which is a limitation in the way you think, and within the sign of Taurus, once again, I think you can find everything in these charts three different ways, right? Because this Saturn in your third house is a block on the way that you view your self-worth, because it's in the sign of Taurus. His turning point in this life, something that only he could feel inside, that he didn't just like express, like, wow, you really changed my life, like we would want somebody to do, right? No, you being his soulmate. Your soulmate energy, your wife energy coming into his life on a day-to-day basis changed how he was going about everything, changed his physical health, his mental health. It was like a uplifting, if you will, because your psyche, which is like literally your psychologist energy in a chart, you understood his relationship patterns, you understood his issues. Maybe you talked him through it when he was trying to jump off a ledge or sabotage himself, even though it's probably very difficult with this person who is determined to just make it to the top of their career and money, 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 right? But that has nothing to do with you. It has to do with how that person feels about themselves. You were assisting with that. You were giving him an option, an opportunity to see that love or a real relationship was possible for him. So his wound is retrograde. He doesn't even like understand what his problem is. He's still trying to process why he is sucky at communicating in relationships, because that's what Chiron and Gemini in seventh means. He is wounded in his relationships. He's misunderstood, can't express himself properly. The thoughts don't turn into the words that would help with the situation. So instead, he just gets frustrated and just sabotages it. Now, for you, that's coming into your romance house. Your house of self-expression. That could be that jealousy energy I was talking about too. It's just his wound and his idea of somebody taking his relationship away from him, or you leaving him or finding something somewhere else just somehow pops up when you're having fun, when you're doing stuff by yourself, when you look interested in anybody else, just because he is unaware of his real value in relationships, particularly. Uh, and it really still feels like if his job isn't going well, his relationships are not going well because his sense of feeling stability is based upon him being a provider, maybe just somebody who can be like the alpha in the relationship. So, Vertex is a fated event. Something happened with his family when he was very, very young, probably 8 actually, uh, that changed the way he was able to emotionally express himself. That's when he became emotionally detached. There is something about your independence that re-triggers that in him. Maybe he was really close to his mom and something happened at 8 and they were no longer as close anymore. But that's actually the embedded fear that he had from relationships, that he would get close to somebody that would pull away from them and then he would end up feeling an abandonment wound again. So in your relationships, that's what your 7th house is, right? You are carrying the word, like God is guiding you through your relationships. Like, you got it, kid, get out of there. But it's something you had to realize. You had to reconnect to your intuition because it looks like the reason you got stuck cycling, you and Boo Boo, you see your logos is retrograde. So is his. That's where the word of God, of source, is translated into something you can hear. Both of you guys cut the line to God at one point so y'all could stay down here and keep doing this. So in this life, you were having to work towards connecting that line back so that you would know which relationship you needed to be in, because your connection is what he's been sacrificing. Because Vesta is like the flame that you use to fuel your life, but it's you got to set something on fire for a flame, right? So with the inner side of Leo, his unique self, his independent, his inner child, and you sort of trigger that back into life just with your good nature. I would say sometimes when you're speaking, it's not just you speaking, you're saying what God wants you to say to that person. If you are leaving yourself open, it's like a conduit. Now, this is not something you particularly choose, it's based upon your heart and if you're open to receive messages. You ever have a conversation with somebody and they say, you know what, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's because at that moment God decided that you were the person that could get through to that person, and that is your role in your relationships. So even if they don't work out, just know you came across this person, you took this step, you did A, B, C, and D because you were helping somebody else who was still in the hole, likely a fragment of the person that you've been trying to heal and connect with time and time again. So over here we have your South Node next to Vertex. So it was a fated thing that you would start this life and your relationships off at the same point that you ended last time, which was not good. Dealing with egotistical, dramatic, self-centered partners who were jealous. That was actually where this relationship was meant to start. Maybe a lot of people try to break up your relationship also, or try to interject themselves. Lots of Jezebels with this energy going on here. So your Lilith in his 9th house usually means you try to talk him into spiritual stuff and he's like, oh, you open his mind to other things, stepping outside the box. And in this case, it looks like you were trying to help him to heal. How he took that, it's difficult for him to change because he's such a fixed, solid energy here. So his South Node coming from his career. Until he does what he wants to in his career every day and is just thriving and repays the debt that is necessary from the last life, that will still be in a debt to you. Like his career and whatever he put into that, he didn't give to you in another life, or was the reason he was abusive. So that's where he's starting on that end. He's starting off in owing you in this life. I wouldn't have been surprised if y'all worked together or y'all had met somewhere that was work-like or had something to do with his career because of this. Now, Uranus in the chart is the big rewrite. What you want to change. You have it in the sign of Libra, which goes with everything else we were saying here. I say we, but it's like us, girlfriend. You wanted to change what happened in your last relationship. That was your big, if I could do anything, it would be to make it right with him that I have not named here. So over here, we have his part of fortune, which is his sprinkle of luck, and his Pluto as his transformation point. So he learned a lot of bad habits around the people who helped him get into the right position for his career. but he belonged to a group of people who were sort of shady in the first place. These are people who are joining like associations, networks. They got to go out, hang out with the boys and golf in order to make friends and stuff like that. But while they're out with these friends, they might learn to like pay for prostitutes or gamble or just stuff that works against them. I feel like I need to go back to your Pluto right now. His South Node is next to your Pluto, which means a power struggle used to be the issue, and it's a sexual control power struggle or something financial. You just needed to know that. I can't believe I went past that. So his 12th house, that's his house of unconscious, right? That's where his psyche, his psychologist energy, and his Reiki, where he needs healing or where he offers healing as well. So he does a lot of stuff in his dreams. He deals with his trauma privately in isolation. But somehow that affects not only your belief system, but how you do it work. So if he's had a bad day, you're having a bad day. It's the energy that this is going to give. Like, whatever he's going through is somehow going to affect you in a way that's very like, if you are his partner, you are taking on all of his stuff with him, is what that means. If he wakes up and he doesn't know why he's in a bad mood, you're still going to feel that for the rest of the day. You guys have Mars conjunct Mars, which could mean a lot of times that you drive each other to do what you need to do, but it also means ram on ram. There's some fighting here, and it would be very lucky if it was not physical, especially because you're Mars and your Jupiter, which is like this mega power that you have next to your Neptune, something owed to you, something you didn't know before. It's like you didn't realize in the other lives that he was still marrying you on multiple occasions because you had the juice, you had the power, and you really amped him, because that's what it is. You make his power bigger, you make him stronger, you make him spread further. It's like he has Wi-Fi, but he has like T-Mobile Wi-Fi. It's spotty in some places. It doesn't work internationally. That's not the limitation you have on you, because whatever he did in the last life, you did not do. Like I was saying in the beginning, you decided to stay on your own. You stay in this loop because you want to be here with this dude, right? This guy was doing stuff. No, he was completely out of pocket. He was beating bitches. He was doing all sorts of stuff to prostitutes. That's what I'm feeling here based upon that 12th house, right? And that vertex in his 8th house. You did not have the same debt. So you have all this magnet and all this power. And when you come into his energy field, all of this right here, boost him up. So you give his ego a boost. You give his Wi-Fi boost. He goes from spotty connection to international coverage. And that's literally because it's Sagittarius. That's expansion. That's growth. You give him something that he definitely would not want to let go of, even if he was not prepared to handle what energy you were triggering out of him. You are cusping his ascendant, which is his self, but it actually is all landed in his subconscious, in his 12th house, which means you make him feel like he needs to be better or do better or think better, but that triggers some dark shit for him. Over here, we got your jealousy marker. So you're jealous about the people he hangs out with, or you have a hard time with other people in your relationships. If anything, your jealousy in general is about the things that you want to do for yourself that you don't get to do, particularly with a partner. Like your stuff is love-based with this going on. Like, oh, those happy couples traveling, I want to go with them. But you want your own. That all comes up into his 1st house. So the things that you aren't receiving from him, if you are expressing them to him, that is like putting a noose around his neck. Not to say that you don't need to say what you want. You deserve the world, man. Say what you want in a relationship. But know that that's the thing that is pushing him. His Saturn, which is the restrictions he has on himself, karmically, and that Uranus, that radical change, he wanted to relieve himself of those changes and restrictions. He was not allowed to go certain places. His life was limited. He was on the Gemini scale. Gemini is local travel, things within 3 hours of where he lives. He was not allowed to spread his wings and live his best life and be free. It's like if heaven has and hell have a court system going on, this guy got house arrest. He cannot travel. They do not trust that he will come back, that he will pay his bail, he'll pay his bond. No, he is a flight risk based on past behavior. So technically, all of your energy is what takes him off of Pinocchio, house arrest. You were the big change, you were his big out, because jealousy and pride are the things that bother him, and it's because you are just blessed. This is your part of fortune next to his Lucifer and his Zavis. Zavis is the jealousy marker, right? The fact that things just fall in your lap or they seem to fall in your lap, it's just because he's kind of cursed. You're not cursed. You just have regular luck and good things happen to you because they're supposed to. The stuff that happens to him, he doesn't know is because of past life stuff. But sometimes he's looking at you like, jealous, right? Crazy. But that is his karma for the last life. So I'm going to look now at your composite just to give you a on where this is supposed to be going. Because keep in mind, the synastry is where you guys both start, how your energies affect each other in the beginning, how you're born, how the design is. You can always develop. That's what progression charts are for, how you develop during this life. This composite chart is like the natal chart for the relationship, what it was supposed to be, what was supposed to grow into. And it looks like here you guys were at the final degree. This is a test degree. Let me make it big again. Anytime you see the 29th degree, that's called a narratic degree. It's a final, a finale. This is like the biggest point, make or break. And this is your value. It's connected to your Venus. So y'all are going to do it this time, or you said, deuces, right? Y'all are going from being in debt as a team in the sunken place. This is the house of the underworld right here, to getting a chance to the house of the pearly gates where y'all can walk out together after your debt is paid. Y'all want to clear the board. That is what you guys want. And the biggest thing on your board that you guys have to clear is jealousy and pride. Pride that comes when he starts to rise up in who he is and how he acts around his friends. Like he don't need you, but he needs you. Because as soon as you leave, he's going to start suffocating. Because he can't be outside of a certain range without you as his oxygen tank with this setup, right? Like, he can soar certain heights, but he will not soar the heights that he needs to without you. Both of you guys are on Pinocchio break without the enlightenment that comes through coming together and forming a family. That's what y'all came to do in this life. This sun at the 4th degree, a Cancer degree, union at the 4th degree. Y'all came to come together, to become one, merge together. This contract, your contract, which is in the 2nd house, which is in y'all getting to the finish line, is the ruler of your 1st house. Yes, it starts with Sagittarius, which would typically make Jupiter ruler, but you have so much intercepted Capricorn that it's like the contract is ruling this. Learning to expand and grow together as like besties, becoming a family, merging together, and then both of you being able to hear the word of God. Like y'all will be to each other what you have been to him. Like it's like he helpful sometimes, but can I be honest? He is the issue in the relationship. Like him fighting to just like stay in hell. But I'm getting his way of standing. It's about being connected to the earth. About him being like stuck on, I need money, I need A, B, C, and D. Like never feeling like he has enough, not enough spirituality, which is the thing that is meant to change for him. Why does this not let me? Hold on. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah. He has to disconnect from like what the world has made him feel he needs to be and get more in touch with what he needs for himself inside and what he needs to be in this relationship, because y'all were supposed to build a home together on a bigger soul scale. Y'all are working your way out of hell together by creating something that is like pure love, unconditional love, coming together and working together as one, fixing your retrogrades, because this relationship is the one that has kept y'all over and over and over. So I hope this gave you a lot of clarity about what you've been dealing with, because it's been a while, man. It's been a long time. Have a good day.